announcement, and it's going to be story time a little bit. But I need to wait and make sure you guys can hear me because I'm obviously on Bluetooth. It's a little bit windy out here. I hope that won't be a problem. But who's going to join me? Yes, of course, this news has a lot to do with Pastor Bob Joyce and also Gene Ho, also George Magazine. And I need to wait and make sure that you guys can hear me as I work on my walking. And that's part of the story time too. Who's out there? If you're out there, send a message. I know it's Friday as I'm recording this. Lots of you are working or maybe out shopping, doing chores, whatever you're doing. But I wanted to put this message out there. And like I said, share a story time about this year, which some of you are familiar with and some are not. Still waiting for something. Give me a thumbs up, give me a comment that you can hear, okay? It's just when I go out on these little adventures down this road, this back road, which I haven't been on in a long time, with Cassie, who's over here. Sometimes the signal is not the best, or sometimes it's windy. And so for this one, I want to really make sure that you can hear me and everything's good. Because I'm just going to make some short videos later anyway to make it good for those of you with short attention spans, which is all of us at some time or another. Okay, now we got some joining us. Who's out there? Send me a message. Send a comment. So I just want to make sure that you can hear me because this is a big announcement for me. I don't know about for you guys, but it just so happens that next month, this is all a change in the last 24 hours. I am now going to George Magazine Live, and I'm going to be able to report on the ground for you all on location next month for the event and see the speakers, talk to them, obviously get the pics and vids as much as I can. And that's really huge. It's kind of funny because just yesterday I made a video saying that I wouldn't be able to go. And that was a true statement about 24 hours ago when I said that, because that's what I was still thinking. And this goes into the little story time I wanted to share. But right after I made that short live video, I realized, you know what? This is God's timing, and I really can go. I really have the option. And there's a few reasons for just realizing that, but one of them is that just 2 days ago, I got off of the crutches. And I could walk some before then on my own, but just the pain in my right leg, the neuropathy that I've been dealing with all year, it was still so bad, even still a week or two ago, that I really didn't think I could physically go try and go through that experience and walk even a block or two or three, or getting Ubers, getting taxis to the convention center, or I forget the name of the location right now. But so literally that was only a week or two ago that, oh, Irma's here. Can you hear me okay, Irma? Can you hear me on the, hi, Christine. Good to see you. It's bright out here and the screen is dark. So I'm like, hello, hello, hello. Trying to read and see you all, but can you both hear me okay? Awesome. You hear me great. So it's only been a few weeks ago that I was still dealing with enough pain and walking badly, not as good as I am now. I didn't think it was an option on the table yet. And then just yesterday, like I said, I realized, you know what? I'm off crutches now. Financially, I'm doing okay. I've been wanting to meet Pastor Bob and Gene Ho in person, talk to them, and just experience a service with Pastor Bob for myself. For over a year now, I've been hearing all the comments of those who went there, and it's not exactly like I've been praying for that. It's not a make or break thing for me, but it was something that I want to do, not just for me, but for all of you. And that really has been a big part of the consideration too, is that, you know what, if I'm going to be making content, using my intuition as heavily as possible to sort of read the tea leaves and tell you all what I think to help you also do the same and discern and make up your own minds, then I want to do this for everybody, for all of you. And it's fun for me, obviously. Um, but it's also something I do not do. I'm not a big concert goer, event goer. I'm primarily introverted most of the time, just meaning I like to work. I like to do the things I like to do, and I don't need a whole lot of socializing for fun. And so it was a big decision for a lot of reasons. And even now, I have a scan in a few weeks, shortly before the trip. So there's a lot of trust and faith in God that I need to have right now. Again, that everything's going to be okay. I don't have to worry and start having concerns about, oh no, what if they tell me this in August, and what if I can't go or something? I'm not going to worry about that. But for those of you who don't know, and there's going to be parts of the story that I've never shared before online publicly. January 7th, I got the diagnosis, the word from the doctor that I had testicular cancer for the second time. Although this time it was kind of a rare thing. It was more located by the spine. Don't make me explain it, but even to the doctors, it was kind of a rare thing. It was in a sort of different location. And then shortly thereafter, the neuropathy became part of it, and I haven't been able to walk without crutches or some kind of assistance this whole year. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the pain. I haven't really shared about the pain because I don't really believe in, I don't know, just, I hate to call it whining, but just complaining about things that can't be changed. And so I prayed. I prayed a lot, and I asked for healing day after day, and it was very slow, but it was happening. And so even though I was in a lot of pain, especially those first 3 months, four, I don't know, sleep was a luxury to get more than 3 hours of sleep at a time. It was more like a couple, and that was just because I was so tired that, you just kind of pass out for a couple hours. And so it was bad, but slowly it improved little by little by little. We're talking just, I was calling it a 1% improvement per week because I felt like there was something that got better. I couldn't exactly point it out, but it was. So anyhow, that has been a long process for me, and I never have experienced anything like that. I've had chronic pain before, and this was on an entirely new level. This year, over that time, I'm sure I had at least 10 trips to the emergency room. It was probably more like a dozen. And at the beginning of this year, my mindset was like it's been for a long time, which is I don't really want to go to the doctor or the hospital unless I have to. I really don't, because I know how to eat healthy. I'm taking care of myself the best I can, unless I break a leg or something like that. So this was not anything I expected, but I found myself having to go through the process and then kind of balance, okay, I have to go to the doctor, I have to go to the emergency room, but at the same time, I'm working really hard to get back to natural, healthy living and healthy body. And so, like I said, it's been a very slow rehabilitation process, which I've been doing mostly on my own, but I was also a Marine for 15 years. I know how to exercise. I know how to build muscle. I know how to escalate training gradually and not hurt myself. And so that's what I've been doing. So I say all that to say, when I was really going through the pain and the suffering, complete suffering, and those around me saw it, and they saw my moods, and they saw how unhappy, painful I was. All I could do was pray. That was the only thing. I was wide awake most of the time and going through it, and I couldn't play music. It was hard to really focus on any sort of project other than a little bit at a time. And so I had to pray. And so, if nothing else this year, that's one thing that I learned and that I want to pass on to others, is that no matter what you're going through, if you don't know what else to do, just pray to God to get you through it and to use it for His glory in some shape or form. But then there's one other step after that. You have to trust it and believe it. And I really did see signs and blessings over time. And I don't mean to skim over the blessings, but I don't want to talk too much about the medical, physical side of my story either. But I'll just say, to say it briefly, there were many blessings along the way, small or big, family related, healing related. That one day that I woke up in the morning and realized, wow, I slept 6 whole hours that night. That was the first time that happened, was maybe, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. That was one of those steps. That was a huge blessing. But I still had a lot of pain. But, there was that process that I went through very slowly with many blessings and many prayers along the way. And I just had to keep trusting and believing that I was going to get to this point, honestly. And I still got a ways to go. At the rate I'm going, I'm hoping that, I don't know, by the end of the year, I could be able to jog, do whatever I want, not have pain, all that kind of stuff. And then, well, I skipped the part where I did 4 solid Monday through Friday weeks of chemo, which also did get me to the point I am now. And even though that was a tough decision, I really didn't want to do chemo. Had to pray heavily about that many times and just any prescriptions that they wanted to give me. That was also a very rough part of the process, and I had to pray and trust the God to see me through. So I say all that to say, I really did not expect to be going to George Magazine Live this August, or really be doing anything this year, because I was essentially bedridden for several months. And so it's a huge blessing to me, and for all of you who have been supporting the channels and the work I have been able to do at home this year. I will use this trip to bless you back more, and I'm excited because I know this is probably the biggest YouTube Pastor Bob and Elvis and Gene Ho and George Magazine channel online, and I'm proud about that for the blessings side of it, but it's also a responsibility to me to do things the right way. But that also means that you're going to have the best channel right here with coverage from the event. And there really wasn't that much content last year from the George Magazine event. And I kind of wondered why. But not everybody that's going to those events are content creators and making videos and posting them. They just share them with family or save them for themselves. Of course, everybody's got phones, but not everybody is sharing the content. So that's a little story time for you all, and I hope you can appreciate why this is such a big event for me. Not just meeting Pastor Bob and Gene Ho and the whole gang, and sort of putting a fuller test to the theories that we believe, and connecting more dots that we've seen, but there's also supposed to be more sort of exclusive info that's going to be shared at this event, and I'll be there for it. So how exclusive and what that is, I don't know, and I will wrap that up in a nice, neat package and make videos for you or share it live in videos, whatever I need to do to pass on what I can. But it's going to be nice after all this time to meet him. I will know his height for sure because I know my height. I'm 5'11", and so if he's 6 foot, if he's 6'1", if he's my height, I'm going to know it because I'm going to stand right beside him and take a picture. But it's more than that. It's not about the theories. I'm looking forward to being blessed by the message that he gives, by the music service portion, the worship, and I'm going to have one of the best seats in the house. So I'm going to have a good view to get some good music, get clips of his messages. And my only problem is, how much am I going to be holding my phone, or how am I going to do it? I'm probably going to bring a little tripod just in case, or maybe just, yeah, my tripod selfie stick. But I'm going to get you guys some good videos either way. But lastly, I'll just close with something that was shared in the short video a couple hours ago that I posted, which is, I truly believe with this whole awakening worldwide event that's going on, that there's a lot of people who don't see the things that are happening at all in the world, with people seeing things now more clearly. And then there's some who see maybe half of it or a quarter of it, different percentages of it. But I truly believe that revival is coming in a major way. In fact, it's already been happening. If you're in tap with Gen Z, millennials in any way online, if you see the content that they post and are talking about, in many ways, the revival has been there already for many years, because just their experience of the world is so different than those of us who have been older. Just all the information is there, right? Just like I try to share, we try to share on this channel all the different information to connect the dots on sort of this particular topic or topics with Pastor Bob, George Magazine, and everything connected with them. But as you all know, online, whether it's YouTube, you name the app, you put all those apps together. And if you really genuinely search for the information on any topic long and hard enough, and you got a little bit of the gift of discernment, you're probably going to figure out the answers. And guess what? A lot of those answers that you find out and then now believe to be accurate are not going to match up with experts, right? Experts. One of the words in the English language and every language that has been utterly cheapened and made useless because it's been so overused by the wrong people. And so what I was getting at though is that this generation, these generations, the younger generations, they've had access to all of the info that we didn't have access to, those of us who are older. They've had it their whole lives. And so that has actually caused many of them to seek God and want a more genuine, authentic, you call it maybe innocent life. They've seen good and evil. And even though they have a different perception of it than we do in a lot of ways, and they get a lot of blame for being sort of gullible, naive, too nice, that sort of thing. And I know that from my own son. Like, he's such a nice kid. He's not a kid anymore, but I get it. And there is that stereotype. And some people push it just way too hard because it's really not fair. They're just growing up in a different time. And they've been taught many wrong things too that made them maybe that way. Maybe too trusting, maybe, I don't want to say too trusting, but I'd say maybe not independent as much as the older folks were, because we grew up in a different time. It was just expected. It wasn't even taught. It was just sort of make or break yourself, right? And the last 20 years or whatnot, the kids have been coddled and they've been told that, essentially just go to school, do what we tell you, we're going to take care of you. Anyhow, that's a long tangent to just say again that I've been paying attention to the younger generations online, and they are awake in a lot of ways that the older ones are not. They just have a different view and perception. But a lot of it is good and it's refreshing. And a lot of us older folks should be taking notes from what they're doing, because there's a sort of level of unbiasedness to people that many of us have because we grew up with it. And so I see all the writing on the wall, all the dots are being connected, that revival is already happening. And yes, I do believe Pastor Bob is going to be one of the major voices in America and worldwide as this whole story continues. So I'll wrap it up there. This was long enough. I will make some shorter clips to share with all of you later, especially if you didn't get all of that. But thanks for joining me. Sorry I'm not following on the comments. It's hard to see. It's really bright out here. I don't know if you can tell that, but not every road that you travel, just like the road I traveled this year, is going to be nice and straight like this one. It's going to be curvy, windy, You're going to wonder, how did you get where you're at right now? But have faith, pray, trust in the Lord, and most importantly, believe that He's going to see you through, and He will. So until next time, see you all again soon. Thanks.